Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, kids.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello. Okay, kids. So let me share my screen quickly.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Sir. Kids, let me know if you are able to see the screen, okay? Is the screen visible, kids?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So welcome back, kids. Last time we saw one of the game which is based on the London system. That is the D4 opening. I hope each one of you must have practiced at home with D4.
I practiced.
Very good, Vihan. Okay. So kids,
I practiced.
if you have not, very nice. Those who have practiced, very good. Those who have not, they could not manage because of their studies, homeworks, or other priorities. Okay. Make sure that you practice for it, because only me teaching you various games based on D4 system, that would not help, because unless and until you try it on yourself, okay, you will not face the practical problem in that opening. Okay. So kids, some of the kids ask me, sir, it is good that you are telling this pattern that we need to follow. Okay, what is that pattern? That we play D4 followed by bishop to F4, then we give support with E3, then C3, prepare the pyramid, take the knight out, the other knight out, take the bishop at D3, right? That is the structure of London system, right? But then question asked was, what if my opponent plays differently? How am I going to deal with that? Okay, and that is the reason what I am doing. Okay, in fact, last time I participated in the tournament as well. Usually I do not, okay, because I do not get time and all. Okay, but because I wanted to try out the various combinations for the D4, okay, what I did, I played the tournament. Now in such scenarios, what happens, kids? You do not get the expected result, okay, because you are going to play only D4, right? But that is okay for me. Results doesn't matter for me. As I always tell, either you win or you learn. Okay, so based on that, let us take one more game. Okay, from white side, obviously I am playing. Okay, from black side, there is one player called as Igor. Okay, not sure from which country and all, but his rating is 1683. Okay, so let's start. I played as expected D4. Okay, and the response to that was little different. Knight to F6, right? Generally we expect knight D4 followed by D5, correct? But this time this player replied, black player replied with knight to F6. Do not worry, as I said, irrespective of, okay, I'm making a statement again, kids. Irrespective of what your opponent plays, you don't have to worry. You continue with your setup, okay? And accordingly, I made my move bishop to F4, okay? Do I need to worry, kids? No, he just played knight. He is trying to control the center, okay? That is fine. With the knight, he is trying to control the center. So I played bishop to F4. The next move comes from him is pawn to E6. Again, this is not expected move, right? But then still it is good for us that we can continue with our setup. Okay. You know the next step. I'm providing support with pawn. Okay, you can play with this pawn as well. Okay, that doesn't matter whether you push this pawn first or this pawn first. End of the day, we have to prepare the pyramid. Okay, so I pushed E3. Then the response from my opponent was d5. Okay. Now kids, after 3 moves, if you see, somehow this is how the setup is, right? You play d4, he plays d5, then you play bishop to f4, he plays knight, correct? Then you push the pawn, he pushed the pawn. But end of the day, after 3 moves, it is the same structure, right? Is there any difference? No.
No.
So do not worry about what your opponent plays. You just focus on your own setup. Okay. Now, when we push this pawn, what is the purpose, kids? We give support to the pawn. Okay. We give support to this pawn, sorry, here. Okay. As well as our intention is we are freeing up this diagonal for our bishop. Okay. It's a different matter that we do not want to come here, but we will bring our bishop here at d3. Okay. But that is the purpose to push this pawn. Okay. The next move, if d4, d5 was played, which one will now play, kids? We will simply push
C3.
pawn. Correct. Okay. So obviously I played that. So long story short, kids, what? I am not just telling you to do this. Okay. When I personally play, I am following those instructions which I am giving to you. Okay. So the next one, black pushed the pawn to c5. Do we need to worry about this attack, kids? Is attacking?
No, sir.
No, we don't have to. What should be our next move? We need to take the knight out at f3, correct? So the knight to f3 should come. See, that is what engine is also suggesting. Okay. So that we played. It comes up with another new move. Okay. This is not at all expected, right? Is bringing the queen here and attacking on our pawn. Correct. Now we need to think little. Now I will not say, okay, don't worry about what your opponent plays and you continue with your setup. Majority of our setup is done. We have to take this knight here. We have to take this bishop here. Okay. But meanwhile, when he brings the attack on our pawn, what should we do? We need to be careful.
We should save it.
Correct. So this time what I did, I
Move
played
knight.
different move. Okay. I played queen to c2. Okay. With two intentions. One, I wanted to provide support for this pawn. Correct.
I know the second.
Yes, Sanay, what is it?
Bishop to d3.
Yes, bishop will come d3 and our intention is once the castling is done, we want to bring attack over h7. Okay. So this diagonal will help us actually. Queen on this diagonal helps us. Okay. Let us see what happened in the actual game then. We pushed knight to c6.
Sir,
Yes, Vikram.
whose match is going on?
This white side I am playing. Okay. And opposite side, there is one player called as Ikor. So 1683 is his what rating is. Okay. So, and we are learning the London system. Okay. So kids, I am continuing with my setup. Okay. Although in between I had to play queen, but my intention is still clear. I want to do the setup of my system. I am following that. Okay. Then my opponent played bishop. Okay. Now here, can you guess, kids? What is his intention? Mostly he is
He
trying
has to
for,
do the long castling.
correct. He may try for long castling. Okay. Or he doesn't want to do the castling at all. Okay. No worries. We will still continue with our setup. Okay. He moved his rook. Okay. Now one thing is clear. he cannot long castle now, correct? So we do not have to
Yes.
worry about this area. Okay. He has only one choice. If at all he wants to do castling, he will have to do the short castling. Okay. So don't worry about that. The next move I played is I did short castling. Okay. Generally in London system, I do not suggest to do the short castling. Okay. Generally. Reason is simple. I want to open this H file so that my rook can attack on H7 pawn, right? But now because he is still not giving me indication whether he is going to do the short castling or not, okay? At least by playing the rook, he gave one indication, long castling is not possible, okay? But still because I have to make the moves, I continued. I just did the short castling, connected both the rooks. The reason for connecting the rooks is if at all I have to move queen anywhere and if his queen comes here, my rook will not be attacked. There is a direct support from my rook. Okay. So with that intention, I did my castling. Okay. And another thing, even if I am doing castling, there are very less chances that his queen or any pieces will come and attack on my king. Okay. Because his pieces are busy on my queen side. Okay, so I don't have to worry. The next move which was played by opponent is he pushed the pawn further to block my bishop. Now see, my bishop cannot come here, come here, come here.
Actually made it the pawn chain.
Yes, he also made the pawn chain here, okay, against our pawn pyramid. Okay, now what should I do, kids? I have to save my bishop, no doubt about it. Okay, so simply for
May I tell the move? Sir, may I tell the move?
yes, Sanay.
There is one more move. We can do the in percent.
In percent, how is it possible? In percent is not
The
possible, right?
Oh.
Okay. So I simply saved my bishop, kids. I brought bishop to E2. Okay. So sometimes you have to take back your moves, kids. Okay. So do not worry about it. In our real life also that happens. Sometimes you have to step back. Okay. And generally, if you have seen long jump, high jump, or sprinters, okay, in Olympics, when they run, okay, if they have to run faster, if they have to run longer, what they do, they take a step back, okay, so that they get more energized and they run faster. Okay, so on similar lines, you have to take sometimes back. That is what I did. I brought the bishop back to E2. Okay, the next move comes. He played the bishop. Now I can make out that yes, in next couple of moves, he will do the short castling. Correct?
To G8 and rook to F8.
Correct. Now, by that time, what I need to do, kids, I have to make sure that these pawns, okay, particularly this pawn, it should be removed from there so that my bishop can come here. Okay. Bishop or queen, anything should come there. Okay. So let's see what I planned for. I moved my knight first. Okay. So that I'll bring attack on this bishop or this knight. Okay. Let us see. If he captures, I'll capture with my bishop. Okay. Let's see what he did. Obviously, he captured with knight. I'll capture with my bishop. I could have capture it with my pawn as well. But if I move my pawn here, okay, it does two things. One is it opens the D file, correct? D file will get open, the rook will come here and it will attack on my D file actually. Other thing is this queen's diagonal also gets opened, correct? If I push my pawn here, this diagonal gets exposed. That is the reason I played bishop.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Astha.
If you also play the pawn, then that pawn will be there without support, maybe.
There is support from our bishop, right? We don't have to worry. Bishop is still here, right? But our bishop gets blocked on this diagonal. Okay. Our diagonal gets open here by the queen. Okay. Then by the rook, our d file also gets open. So it is better that you play bishop. Okay. All these small things matters, kids. When you have choice to capture, okay, here, when I have choice to capture either with pawn or with bishop, okay, so I am telling you all my thoughts, why I chose to play with bishop and not with pawn. Okay. And when you play with bishop here, kids, okay, this is called as taking the space advantage. I am using the word space advantage. Let me write it for you, kids. Okay, so that you will also make out of that. Space advantage. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes only capturing the pieces does not help. But along with that, if you get opportunity to control more number of squares, gives you space advantage. Is this clear, kids? You understood, everyone, what I wrote? Sometimes only capturing the pieces does not help. Okay, I'm not saying that you do not capture, okay, but you capture with such a piece so that you get the space advantage as well. In this case, kids, in this case, because I captured with bishop, can you see my bishop is controlling all the squares. Correct? As well as my bishop is attacking on this square, it is supporting this pawn as well. Correct? So this is the advantage I got. Now, instead of this, just think of it, kids. Okay. Instead of this, if I take this back, okay, and capture with my pawn, what will happen now, kids? This queen, which was blocked here because of the pawn, correct, will get open. Now he will be able to capture one more space, correct? He will be able to capture. Anyways, this was anyways open for him, but this additional square get open, and for our bishop, these squares which it was controlling are now we are not able to, correct? Because our pawn blocked the bishop's diagonal, right? So this is the loss of space advantage for us, whereas it is advantageous for the black, correct? That is the reason you need to choose with bishop. Okay, so capture with bishop. We are moving next now, kids. The next move that he did is, obviously, he will do castling now. So castling is done. Okay. The next, now I am pushing the pawn. As I said, kids, I need to create space for my bishop, right? So somehow I have to make sure that this pawn moves out. Okay. So let's see what happened. He moved the king to h8. Okay. I'm not sure what was his intention. Probably he wants to bring the rook here so that he will attack on my g7 pawn. Okay, but let us see. Then what I did, as soon as he gave me opportunity, I captured the pawn. Okay. Now he can also capture back. Okay, because he also has support from rook. So let's see. I believe he will capture. Yes, he captured with the pawn. But now can you see, kids? My knight is attacking. My bishop is attacking. Correct? So I can go ahead and capture that pawn, right? Now with which piece? Obviously, I should decide that. Okay, so let's see what I did. I first captured it with bishop. Okay, ideally I should have captured with knight. Okay, in this case, even I mean capturing with knight was also useful, because when I capture with my knight, it is attacking on the queen. Okay, but I did not wanted to, provoke him so that the queen will move. Okay, the queen is sitting here, it is not doing anything hard or anything trouble to us. Okay, so I don't have to worry. Yes, Vikramaditya, want to say something?
Yes, sir. You did not play the knight because if we played the knight, so the rook will capture it.
No, rook will not capture, he will play the queen because there is attack on the queen, right? Correct.
Yes.
And now my problem now is, because there is double attack, one with rook, another with queen, I cannot move my knight. Okay, in the next move what he will do, he will push this pawn 2 squares and I will have to move my knight. As soon as I move my knight, he will capture this pawn, attack on my queen. Correct, because he has double support, I have only one support, right? And that is the reason I decided not to capture with knight and not to trouble his queen. Okay, कभी कभी क्या होता है बच्चों, आपका जो एनिमी होता है, ओके, वो एक जगह पे बैठा होता है, उसको लगता है कि ओके एवरीथिंग इज अंडर माय कंट्रोल, जैसे अभी इस क्वीन को लग रहा है कि आई एम कंट्रोलिंग एवरीथिंग, लेकिन वो एक्चुअली यूजलेस है. फॉर मी इट इज नॉट ट्रबलिंग. सो व्हाट आई विल से, oh my god, very good, you are doing good over there, you sit there, I will not trouble you, right? So that is the reason I captured with bishop and not with knight. Okay, another important thing is, as soon as I captured this, now this space is open for me, right?
Yes.
This space is open for me, so I don't have to worry. So the next one, which was played by opponent, he pushed the bishop. Okay, now he is pushing the bishop, attacking on your bishop, giving you invite. Okay, come on, you can capture me, right? Now, as I said, kids, if I capture this, okay, what will happen? His queen again will get provoked and come and capture. Okay, which will get activated, which will attack on my h2 pawn, right? So I don't want to do that again. Okay, so another option that I have is I'll capture the knight. Okay, if I capture knight, there are two advantages, kids. One is queen is not getting open, queen is not getting activated. Another thing is he will capture with the pawn, he don't have other choice. Okay, so his king gets opened. Okay, Arav is saying something. Yes, Arav.
We shouldn't kill the knight or the bishop. We should take the e5 bishop to g3, so that if the bishop kills us, the h2 pawn will capture it.
No, but there is support of the knight on this, right?
No, not that.
H2
I said the e5.
Can I go to washroom?
Yes.
Can I go to washroom?
Yes, Vihan, you can go. So what are you saying, Arav? E5.
Sir, e5 bishop should go to g3.
E5 to G3.
So if it captures us, we can capture back. We don't need to capture with the f2 pawn.
No, but what is the use of capturing with H2? You don't have your rook here, right? Now you are in the castle position, right? So although you are thinking correct, but because now the situation is different, your king is already castled, you cannot open this file, right? So better I decided to capture the knight. Capturing the knight, this pawn will come here. Now see two things happening, kids. One is the support of knight to h7 pawn is gone, correct? This pawn is no more supported by knight, only king is supporting. Okay. Second thing, there is a double pawn here. Can you see? So
Yes.
basically, this pawn is troubling the pawn which is behind. Okay. And third thing, this G file open. Okay. This is little disadvantage for me, because if he plans to bring the rook here and queen from this side, then it is a checkmate for me. Correct? So I need to be careful from that perspective, kids. Let's see what happened in the game. I push my bishop back on d3. Okay, so that I get the diagonal of like b1 to h7 diagonal. Okay, then he obviously will push this pawn so that this diagonal gets blocked. Okay, I do not have to worry. What I will now make the next move, I will push my pawn further. Okay, that I can break this stop. I mean the pawn which is stopping my diagonal. I should be able to break that. Okay. He captured. I captured back with bishop. Okay. This is good for us, in fact, right? Then he pushed the pawn further. I brought the rook to b1, attacking on the queen. Now, kids, can you see my bishop is controlling this diagonal? Okay. So queen cannot come here. My pawn is controlling this. Queen cannot come here. Okay. My another from this side, queen is controlling this, knight is controlling this. My pawn is supported with my another pawn. Okay, so I don't have to worry that the queen will capture. So what I did now, I attacked on the queen so that the queen will run away. Now queen goes to d8, back to home, back to pavilion. Okay, with the intention that it will be helpful to come this side. Okay, let's see next move from white side. I captured. Can you see? As soon as the queen moved, the support of the pawn is gone. There is nobody who is supporting this pawn, right? So I captured that pawn with my rook. Another intention is, kids, as soon as the queen moves anywhere, I can attack on this bishop. Okay. Or if the bishop moves, if the queen moves, if the rook comes this side, this pawn is also getting attacked, right? So basically I'm taking control of the 7th file or 7th rank. Now the queen comes. Obviously, you want to attack here. Can you see, kids? As I told earlier, there is a threat. Bishop is attacking from this side. Now queen is attacking. In the next move, white is going to be checkmated if you do not pay attention, kids. Okay. And that is the reason I always keep on telling you, whenever your opponent makes a move, you ask the question, why he played this move. Okay. Yes, Arav.
He's gonna second with us, but we have a move that king can move. But instead of moving the king, we should take the d2 to f3, so it cannot second with us.
Correct. Okay, this is one way. What is another way, kids? Sanay, if you are white, what will you play, Sanay?
Excuse me, sir.
1 minute.
Three. We can play. We can play pawn to H3. Pawn to H3.
Now,
Pawn
point
to
Okay.
H3.
Okay,
Pawn to
kids. Okay,
H3.
kids. Yes,
Sir,
Astha. Yes, Astha.
Pawn to H3.
Okay, pawn to
Pawn to
H3, pawn to H3, pawn to G3, knight to F3. There are multiple ways, right, kids? Even knight to F3 is a good move, kids. Can you see? If the knight is played here, there is attack on the queen. If the queen captures this pawn, our knight is supporting. Correct? Even that is also good move.
But sir,
Yes, Sanay.
you said we are not going to trouble the queen so that it will come back to D8 and support the bishop.
Right. Now, in this case, generally, kids, okay, although there are multiple ways, what I did, I pushed the pawn to G3, okay. I pushed the pawn to G3 with the intention that I will attack on the queen. Now,
And
because,
the bishop is blocked. And the bishop is blocked in that diagonal.
correct, the bishop is blocked in this diagonal, okay. If he captures, he will lose the queen. If he captures the pawn, he will lose the bishop. Correct. Another thing that he can do is he can bring the rook to G8. Correct. So that my pawn cannot capture the queen. Okay. And that's what he did in the game. He brought the rook. Okay. So sometimes, kids, this is another important learning for all of you. Okay.
Sir, I have a best move for white.
When your opponent is attacking
Can
on
I tell
any
the move?
of your important piece,
Sir, can I tell the move?
one second, pay attention here. When your opponent is attacking on any of your important piece, not necessary that you should move that piece. Instead, you can counter attack on your opponent so that the earlier attack cannot be converted into an advantage. Okay, now what I said here, kids, long story short is what? Counter attack is the best defense. You must have heard from me earlier as well. Correct? Counter
Sir,
attack.
I heard from you counter attack.
Very good, Sanay. Okay, so this is the example of same kids. When the
Sir, can
white,
I tell the move?
1 second, Vihan. When the pawn is attacking on the queen, the rook, we brought the rook here so that if the pawn moves, there is a check coming on the king. Okay, this is the counter attack we made, kids. Okay, we made this counter attack. Okay, so that he cannot play further. Okay, okay, Vihan, tell me what you are saying.
Bishop H7.
Bishop H7. Okay, that is also good thing actually. Apart from that, what else you can think of, kids? Now see what he can do now. Probably he can capture this. Okay, when we capture with this pawn.
Sir, may I tell the move?
Okay, kids, when he captures with this pawn.
Sir,
Yes,
may I
Sanay.
tell the move which
Yes,
will
Sanay.
support queen to D3.
Queen to D3. Okay, that is also possible. Okay, so what I am telling you, kids, the plan of black can be, okay, he captures with the pawn. Okay, if we capture back, he will bring another rook. Okay, he captures the pawn with the rook. If we capture with pawn, he brings another rook. Okay. Again, next he will capture. If we capture back, then he will bring the attack from queen, because now both the pawns are gone. Okay. Long story short, there is a risk for us. Okay. So what I simply did, I brought another attack with my knight. Okay. On the queen. Knight attacking on the queen. Knight supporting the pawn. Okay. Now he has no choice but to move the queen. Otherwise his queen is gone. Okay. Still what he is doing? He is still sitting here. Okay. So what I did now, I captured this bishop. Can you see? This bishop is now not having support. Correct? So I don't have to worry. I will capture this, then I will capture this pawn. Okay. And by that time, I already have the diagonal attack. Correct? Captured the bishop. Do I need to worry about this capture, kids? No, he cannot capture because I have support. He cannot capture my bishop because I have support. He cannot capture pawns with the knight, bishop, with the bishop or queen because I have support from both the sides. Okay, so I simply captured this. Now he played the pawn further. Okay, but then kids, because he thought like now I'll capture this and bring the attack from this side. Okay, because as soon as I capture this now, see, okay, if I capture, if he push further, okay, to attack on my pawn, can you see this is a checkmate, kids?
Sir, I already see that first.
Okay, so here the game ends. Okay, so after 2 moves, it was going to be a checkmate anyways. So what he did, he resigned actually after pushing the pawn to h5. My opponent resigned. If you see here, black resigns. Can you see? Okay. Anyways, long story short, kids, you understood what your opponent is making the moves. Okay. That does not matter to you. You play your London system. You apply all your knowledge, skills that you learned so far.
Do you have red?
Okay. Vihan, you're saying something?
Do you have red?
Sorry.
Do you have red?
What are you saying? Rating? Are you saying rating?
Yeah.
Yes, I do have.
How many?
How much? So here, if you ask me, I played with the rating 1669.
1669.
Yes.
I also have rating.
Good. So kids, I hope you enjoyed this game. And this is another addition into the London system. One of the variation I shown you. Okay. So as suggested, continue practicing. Okay. Practice at home, write your game. Let me know what is the outcome is. Okay. We will stop. Yes, we will stop here for today. Tomorrow, same time, we will have another game review, kids. Okay. Bye, kids. Enjoy.
Bye, sir.
Sir, bye-bye.
Sir, bye, sir.
Tomorrow.
Bye-bye.